Blog Talk Radio.
To CallTalk for April 18th, 2012. Today's topic is the impact of technology on call center performance. And if you're listening live, we invite you to be a part of the show and ask questions. And here's how you can do it. You can either email me at brian@benchmarkportal.com, or if you're listening on the phone or you're close to one, you can call in at 347-857-3117. I'll be sure to repeat that number for you later. But also press 1 on your phone to let me know that you have a question, and I'll be able to get you in. I want to remind you that the first 2 people to ask a live question over the phone today will receive a copy of the full report of the research we're going to be discussing today, and that's a value of $1,000. I want to remind everyone that all of our shows are archived and available to listen to at BenchmarkPortal.com any time of the day. So let's kick it off, and I'd like to start with a few questions. So, how would you like to improve your first call resolution by 13%? Or how about increasing your agent calls per hour by 18%? If that sounds good to you, you came to the right place, because we're about to share some groundbreaking research that will highlight a connection between a center's technology and many more of those very important KPIs. So as you probably know, I think it's hard to keep up with technology, and it's even harder to get budget dollars allocated for new technology. And so that's why we decided to do some in-depth research on the topic and share, of course, our findings with you right here and right now. And to make the show even more beneficial, the one thing you'll need to do is make sure that you have the executive summary in front of you right now. We will be referencing it directly, and you might find it hard to follow along if you don't have the summary open. So here's what you want to do. If you're listening live right now, find the invite that brought you to the show and click on the link. Or if you're listening from our archives, just pause the show right now and click on the link inside the show description. So once you've done that, you'll have the document open in front of you, and you should see on page 1 that it says Executive Summary Version. So I'll give everyone just a second to do that, but it's very important that you have that open. It'll help quite a bit in today's show. So while Benchmark Portal did the research, you'll also see it was made possible by the sponsorship of Cisco. So a big thank you goes out to them. And that's on page 1. Now scroll down to page 2 on the summary, and that will show the research team. And today we're fortunate to have 2 of the contributors with us, Bruce Belfiore and John Chatterly. You might recognize Bruce's name, as he's also normally the host of CallTalk right here, along with Dee Buell. And unfortunately, she was unable to be on the show with us today. But the good news is I've got Bruce and John here. And Bruce is also the Senior Research Executive and CEO of Benchmark Portal. John Chatterly is the Director of Research and Analysis for Benchmark Portal. Both Bruce and John are authors of numerous white papers and books, and they've been working hard on this research report on the impact of technology on call center performance. Welcome, Bruce and John. And it looks like Bruce just fell off. I'm going to try to get him to call back in. John, are you there?
I'm here, Brian.
Well, good to have you on the show. We really appreciate you guys putting all this research together. I know it's been a long time coming, and it's just been quite a journey, so to speak. And I'm hoping that Bruce can get back on with us right now. Bruce, are you back?
I am, if you put me on.
You are there.
Brian?
Yes, you are live.
Oh, great. Okay, well, thank you, Brian. It's kind of fun to be on this side of the table being interviewed for a change. I think I could get used to this.
Don't get too comfortable over there, Bruce. I kind of like it the other way around. Guys, let's get started by getting your take on why this was an important area to dig deeper into in the first place.
Yeah, well, Brian, there's some holy grail areas of study which fascinate us as researchers in our field. Things that John and I like to break our heads on, like the relationship between customer contact and shareholder value, or the relationship between customer satisfaction or customer loyalty and increased sales. And then this one, what is the impact of technology on contact center performance?
I second that, Bruce, although sometimes we find more of a holy cow than a holy grail. But it's always interesting. You know, Brian, we knew this issue had important impacts for call center managers who are continually battling for added appropriations for advanced technology. So we wanted to see if the data would support their battle.
Right, kind of like following the cash flow and the caller sat, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny, I've heard from many call center managers and the like that they knew that updating their technology would make a big difference. At least they felt that way. But they were having a hard time proving to their upper management, which made me think it would be hard to do this research as well. So how did you guys approach the project? And maybe more importantly, how did you guys end up breaking it down?
Yeah, Bruce, please tell our listeners how we went about doing that.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for the handoff, John. Okay, no problem. Let's go to the executive summary on page 5. And you'll see figure 1 was our conceptual starting point. It's called the contact center maturity model. And note that there are 6 columns. And the top row of dark blue boxes are the 6 different functions for contact center technology. From left to right, you'll see receiving contacts, then recognizing the caller, routing the contact, resolving the issue, and lastly, reviewing the contact. It's pretty granular. And the second row down in yellow provides our definition of that function.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian, and starting at the bottom of each column, you and our callers can see that the basic technologies, for example, PBX or value and skills-based routing or CRM desktops and so on, all start at the bottom and then layered on top of the basic technologies or the more sophisticated technologies, stacked one on top of each other until you get to the advanced technologies like multi-criteria routing or universal multi-channel queue technology and so forth at the top.
Okay.
Yeah, some pretty advanced stuff there. In all, we identified 48 technologies spread among the 6 functional columns. And using these technologies in the maturity model, we then created a custom technology survey, which we sent along with our in-depth reality check benchmarking survey, which, as you probably know, has the world's largest performance metrics database behind it, and whose godfather is Mr. Chatterley here.
You can kiss my ring, Bruce.
Okay. Okay. Senor Capo di Tutti Metrics, I guess we'll call you. Well, in addition to that, we sent questions for the non-voice channels, so like email and chat. And you can imagine completing the custom technology survey was a pretty big commitment for the participants. And actually, I'd like to just take a moment here to thank them for their contributions, because probably there's some listeners right now that participated in all this. So thank you very much.
Nice shout out to the actual survey participants there, Bruce, and rightly so. Speaking of which, can you tell us what different kinds of industries are included in this research?
Sure, Bruce, or sure, Brian, I'll take that one. If everyone would like to go to page 6 of the executive summary, figure 2, illustrates the participation by sector. As you can see there, the participants were from a wide range of industries, including insurance, financial services, healthcare, telecom, utilities, consumer products, and so on.
Okay, it's nice to see that there's a wide range of the industries there, and kind of adds to the validity of the report, and that it didn't just come from one sector. So that's interesting. So now, once you had all of the data from all the different industries, how did you actually go about performing the analysis?
Yeah, well, Brian, we did a couple of different kinds of analyses with the assistance of our colleagues, Angel and Christo Tanchev. Now, Angel and Christo are statistical geniuses from Bulgaria who first collaborated with us when they were graduate exchange students at Purdue University at least a decade ago. Somehow John and I failed to scare them off, and in fact, they've been working with us on various things. They helped develop the 4-quadrant performance matrix, which is one of the well-known outputs of the in-depth reality check benchmarking survey, in fact.
All right, Bruce. Having both of them work with us is such a blessing because they're both so bright, and so together it's kind of like one of them starts a sentence and
the other one finishes it. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Sort of like us, right, John?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, now back to the serious side. The Tonchefs did 3 levels of analysis, concentrating on several key metrics, such as first call resolution, calls per agent per hour, cost per call, customer satisfaction, agent satisfaction, queue time, and they also looked at multi-channel metrics for email and chat.
Okay, and that's good news, actually, because it sounds like that they focused on the key performance metrics or KPIs that most managers watch very closely. So that's great. And then the next step, then, of course, I want to ask is what did the final analysis show you guys?
Well, the bottom line is our research confirmed that more advanced technologies result in more effective and efficient customer interactions. So the conclusions was that the contact center technologies can be really strong enablers of superior performance as measured in the metrics, both in terms of satisfying customers and in terms of improving the financial performance of the center.
Can our customers quote you on that, our listeners, and use it in their next budget meeting? That's perfect.
Okay. Trying to get me on the hook here, huh, Brian? Well, actually, they can. And I think there are more specific findings from the research, however, that might even have more legs in that budget meeting that they'd like to see.
Okay, well, good. And we do want to dive a little further into those. I was noticing on page 3 of the executive summary that we have here, let me scroll back up to that. Let's see. You're probably talking about some of the key findings that I see here on page 3. Do you mind going through some of these a little bit more specifically?
Sure, Brian, I'd be happy to. So everyone go ahead to the bottom of page 3, key findings that Brian was talking about, and notice that the second bullet from the bottom is about FCR, for first call resolution. A bunch of technologies help boost performance up to 13% over those without the technology. And that included contact data analytics, skills-based routing, and a number of others.
But and actually, if we then take it and quickly go back to Figure 1 for a minute, the maturity model, the technologies supporting first call resolution in particular were concentrated in 4 of the functional columns, the route, queue, resolve, and review columns. Now, this makes intuitive sense, particularly for the first 3, because technologies that route and queue inquiries reliably increase the chances that contacts will be handled properly and completely when they get to the resolve phase. And agents who are enabled by the proper desktop technologies, we're talking here CRM systems, CTI systems, and they have those at the resolve phase, are definitely better able to close an inquiry and get that wonderful first call resolution that we're all looking for. Interestingly, the technology in the review column was tied to good first call resolution performance as well. And we found this really exciting, Brian, because it validated something that we have felt and seen experientially, and that is that transparency and good feedback that come with really good review tools, including real-time agent feedback, appear as major factors. So this was, this was big stuff. So it was important. Think about this. Now, a center with 2 million calls per year and 7% better first call resolution with an average cost per call of $5 saves about $700,000 per year with the proper technology.
Wow.
And secondly, go beyond that. So suppose that you know from your experience that you improve about 1% in caller satisfaction for every 2% improvement of FCR. So let's say that that's what your experience is. Well, that would mean that your 7% improvement in first call resolution will also bring you 3.5% improvement in caller satisfaction. So it's big stuff.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting, and big stuff, like you said. I appreciate you putting it into some perspective there as far as dollars and cents. I can almost hear everyone's pencil to paper right now trying to write all those examples down, because that speaks volumes. And when you're trying to get some budget dollars for a new technology, that can make a really strong case. So before we get to the next question I have for you guys, I want to remind everyone that we are going to be giving away 2 free reports, the full research report that we're kind of talking about today, to the first 2 people that call in and answer or ask a question online. So I want to make sure everyone knows that, and make sure you call in. The number, again, is 347-857-3117, and it looks like we have a couple callers, one in particular maybe from Colorado, so make sure you press the 1 here a little bit later on, and we'll get you on and ask a question, and then the full report can be yours. So, well, let's go ahead and dig a little deeper, and let's see, at the bottom of page 3, I see reference to cost per call. Could you guys elaborate on that for us?
Sure. John, do you want to take this one?
Oh, sure, Bruce. Our analysis indicates the cost per call can be up to about 35% lower with some specific technologies. So if we use use your illustration of $5 per call, cost per call again, a 35% savings would bring the cost per call down to about $3.25.
Mm-hmm.
Now consider 2 million calls a year. That would be a savings of over $3.5 million, which is a big chunk of change.
Wow.
Hey, Bruce, am I doing the math right?
Yeah, you are, John. So it is. The numbers can get pretty big. And now we want to obviously mention that the results are not always going to be that dramatic, but in fact they can be. And let's return to the fact that we have also found that using proper technologies can have that impact on customer satisfaction results that we mentioned. So I'm looking at the first bullet on page 4 now. We saw an improvement of 5 to 7% for top box, that is to say 5 out of 5 scores, and an improvement of between 39 and 66% for bottom box scores. Now, this can make a major difference in customer retention, customer loyalty, and the ability to make additional sales.
Very interesting. I think that all listeners would probably agree that over the past several years, contact centers across just about all industries are paying close attention to, for sure, customer satisfaction, and as we attempt to especially recover from this economic crisis. So the next finding is around calls per agent per hour. Can you help us frame why this is so important?
Okay, John, would you like to take a lead on this one?
Sure, boss. Our research showed that there can be between 6% and 18% improvement in the number of calls an agent can take per hour. This isn't just important when companies are trying to save money by reducing staff. We are also seeing many companies use the additional time to do phone work, conduct training, and have other regularly scheduled communication meetings with their agents.
Yeah. Really the agent side of this, Brian, is also extremely important. The research shows that there's an improvement of 4 to 11% in top box agent satisfaction. That is to say, 5 out of 5 scoring that can be had. And I mean, this is very important. Turnover, a lot of other things are tied to agent satisfaction, and turnover, as we know, is very, very expensive. So providing agents with the proper technology tools to do their job well is really a key part of their job satisfaction. And we all know what they say about happy agents. They create our happy customers, and that's what we want because they keep on coming back to us for more and more business.
Definitely.
And Brian, yeah, so we also found an improvement in a couple of other metrics that we can tell you about. Average queue time, improvement in multi-channel performance too. And we can, talk to you more about that and show you actually through the study what happened there. But let me put on my researcher's reminder here for a second. We've shared some illustrations with our listeners today, but we should keep in mind that it's always important to do separate, specific analyses for any investment that you're thinking of doing in technology. However, what this study does is to provide a really compelling backdrop that definitely favors investing in technological maturity as a way of getting really good performance, which is measurable through the metrics.
And that's, I think that's really good news to any call center manager out there that is looking to make a case to help allocate some budget dollars, whether this year, next year, what have you, for some improvements in technology. And it also seems like a trend lately that in our current economic situation, a lot of companies are looking to make those kind of improvements. So this is a real timely case for them to bring to the table. So thanks, gentlemen, I appreciate you sharing that information with us and giving us some great insights, and the practical illustrations are very powerful. But at this point, I noticed we have a couple questions coming in and from our listeners. So I'd like to remind everyone and encourage you, if you're listening right now, to call in or email me, and especially call in, because if you're one of the first two people that I get on the air, you're going to get a free copy of the entire research report that this is all being talked about, and that's $1,000 value. So I'd be happy to give those out to someone who could really use it, and hopefully will help you make the case to get you the technology at your call center that you're looking for. So to do that, again, the number is 347-857-3117, and then all you have to do is press the 1 on your keypad, and that'll let me know that you have a question. But right now, let's jump into our first question. This came in from the email, and it comes from Hank. Hank says, "Do you or did you accept all of the data that came in?"
Okay, well, I'll take that. Hank, if we could have only accepted all the data. We've got pretty rigid standards for data quality at BenchmarkPortal. So we cross-checked each submission carefully and went back to the participants to clarify any questions. And given the nature of this, the cutting-edge nature of this, there were some questions, obviously. So given our rigorous, screening, in the end of the 322 data sets that were submitted, we were able to accept, John, I think it was 143, right?
Yeah,
143.
That's right, Bruce.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you guys are tough, but I guess that's really important when you get a lot of data. Any report is only as good as the data submitted, so if it's not good data, why include it, right?
Yep,
that's
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, it looks like we have our first caller question coming in. This is coming from Crystal. Crystal, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Hello.
Oh.
I have a question about queue time today. Our center has been dealing with a continued increase in queue time because of rapidly increasing call volumes, and we're considering adding courtesy callback technology. So my question is, does your study show the benefit or effect that courtesy callback technology has on queue time?
Okay, John, would you like to take that one? Great
Sure.
question.
It's a great question, Crystal. Yes, one of the metrics that the survey highlights is the technology impact on queue time. In fact, the report shows that the impact of 9 different technology improvements that can reduce queue time from as little as 12% to as much as 43%. And in the case of courtesy callback, 34%. So the report would be quite useful to you to use as a tool to convince your management to make the investment in the courtesy callback technology and, in fact, perhaps some other technologies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is there anything else you would like to add, Bruce?
No, I think that was a great question, and John answered it extremely well. So, okay. I think we can go on to the next. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Crystal just dropped off. But, Crystal, I want to remind you to email me at brian@benchmarkportal.com, as you are the winner, the first winner today of the full research report. So thank you for your question, and, of course, thank you for listening in. The next question now comes again from my email, and this is coming from Carl. Carl asks, did you consider the size of the center in this study?
Well, I can answer that question too, if you'd like, Brian. And it's another great question, Carl. It turns out that the centers in our study ranged from 10 full-time agents to over 2,000 full-time agents, with an average across the 146 or the 142 that we ended up using. Of 147 agents per center. So the study encompassed I think, a pretty broad spectrum of the contact centers in terms of size.
Yeah, I can just add to that, Carl, that we were just very pleased with the spread among the different types of centers, which gave us a lot of good insights. So really good spread there.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Just want to remind everyone, although we have just a few more minutes left in the show, there's still an opportunity if you want to get your question in live on the air, you can do so. If you are listening live through your phone already, all you have to do is press 1, and I can take your question live on the air. But that number, just in case you aren't, is 347-857-3117. Okay, I've got another one on the email. Seems people prefer to contact us via the email. This one comes from Joan, and I think we're all kind of wondering this as well, guys. Were there any real surprises found in your research?
Oh, surprises. Well, any surprises, John? Well, Joan, if you've been around...
Surprises, right.
Yeah, there always are. If you've been around metrics and statistics as long as we have, you know the data always provides something of a surprise. So things don't always go the way you expect, but that's okay. It actually can open your eyes to some very interesting relationships. So, for example, I would have expected to see natural language IVR and speech recognition under the cost per call. Now, that doesn't mean that these technologies won't have a major impact in a specific situation, because we've seen in specific situations that they have had major impacts. But the overall statistical relationship I expected didn't show up on our data set. Let me think. Yeah, conversely, there were some relationships that appeared kind of random, like certain voice channel technologies that had a positive relationship with email or chat functions. Now, actually, those might have a logical explanation. We're going to have to delve into those further through further research. But, yeah, those are the kinds of surprises that did come up, and it's okay. You expect this. But, Jonah, I should underline that overall, we found that things did point in a reliable and very exciting direction, showing that more advanced technology went with better statistically measured performance. So that part came through loud and clear.
Very good. And as like we said before, this is going to be a really strong, a very compelling case for call center managers to bring to the table in their next budget meetings for sure. And it did not come easy. I've been in touch with you guys probably throughout I would say the last nine months or so that you guys have been working on this project. So it's, I'm sure, taken a lot of your time, effort, and energies. And so how must it feel to finally be able to kind of validate this contact center assumption that the technology really does make a contact center perform better?
Well, Brian, I personally feel a great sense of satisfaction, particularly in the outcome of the study, both in terms of the level of participation we received, as well as the correlations that we turned up between performance and technology. Also, on a personal level, I feel a great sense of relief that our assumptions are validated.
Yeah. Well, if you ask me, I remember what Tony the Tiger used to say on the commercials. It's great. That's how it feels to have done this. You also mentioned that it was 9 months in the making, and so it's sort of like a pregnancy. We finally gave birth to our brainchild here. So really, there was a lot of satisfaction, not just in the high-level conclusions, but also the specific statistical relationships that we were able to see in black and white. And we expect some pretty wide readership for the research and encourage listeners to get the study. And since starting the study, I should mention, too, we've also made some further strides in working on the contact center technology maturity model, and would be happy to discuss that with interested call center managers as well, so that they can actually use it in their analyses. So in this, in fact, again, a big thank you to Cisco for sponsoring the research and collaborating on the structure of the maturity model.
Yeah, fair enough. And Of course, anyone that's listening, whether you're live or maybe you have come back to our website and into our archives of CallTalk and listening to this after the fact, you have a free copy of the executive summary that we've gone through today's show. Feel free to use that however you'd like, and as far as presenting a case to your upper management. And we also want to say congratulations to Crystal, as she is the winner today of the full research report. But, of course, if people want to take a closer look at that report and possibly get a hold of that, Bruce, maybe how can people do that?
Well, anyone who wants a full report can buy it at our store at BenchmarkPortal.com. So just come on to our website and go to our bookstore, and they can find it there.
Okay, very good. Well, I want to thank you both, Bruce and John, for sharing the findings with us today and going through some of the research that you guys have done over the last 9 months. And as hopefully our listeners know, our desire, as always, is that the white paper will be useful to you and helping you make decisions that improve your call center. So, gentlemen, thank you.
Our pleasure.
There it is again, you guys, like finishing each other's sentences. All right. Well, I do want to thank all of our listeners, of course. We couldn't do this without you, and we trust and hope that you found this discussion enlightening today. And once again, congratulations goes out to Crystal. Make sure, Crystal, you email me at brian@benchmarkportal.com so I can help arrange for you to receive a copy of the full version of the research report that we're talking about today, the impact of technology on contact center performance. And I'll tell you what, since we didn't have a second caller, if there's someone out there that wants to email me and present a very strong case, I do have one extra report to hand out, so I'd be happy to, if you make a good enough case that this can really help you and accomplish some of your goals. I'll check with Bruce, and we'll see if we can't get you a free copy as well. So at this point, just want to make sure that you join us next time as we have another call talk coming up, and that is going to be May 16th, 2012, where we're going to talk about social media in the call center with Dr. Natalie Petinoff. And Dr. Natalie has been writing and speaking about customers, companies, and how they affect your bottom line for over 15 years. And she continues to lead the conversation on strategy and execution. So we're happy to have her on our next show. Don't forget to sign up for a free reality check benchmark report to see how your call center compares to others in your industry as well. And from all of us at Benchmark Portal, keep those headsets steady and your fingers ready. This is Brian Carrington signing out. Have a wonderful day.